This is the video for skill set number 8, which is titled Help with the Ets. We're going to be dealing with the word et in Hebrew and how we understand what it means. So, as always, please pause, rewind, and rewatch the video so that you can see any clarification that you need, and if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. We're going to start off with a little mini English sentence structure review. I'm sure that you have learned this at some point in your academic career so far, but it's always good to have a refresher, especially since we're about to transfer this skill to a different language. So in order to be able to understand the word et in Hebrew, we have to refresh our memories about the objects and subjects in a sentence. Every sentence has a subject and a verb. Those are the only two components necessary to have a sentence. So I could have a sentence that says, I ran. I am the subject of the sentence, ran is the verb. There's a two-word sentence and it's perfectly grammatically correct. So the first sentence we're going to look at to identify the subject and the verb is Sammy ate falafel. The first thing we're going to do to help make this process easier is identify the parts of speech. So Sammy is a noun, ate is a verb, and falafel is a noun. The subject is the thing that the sentence is really about. It's the main player, the subject of the sentence. It makes sense. And in this case, it's Sammy, because Sammy is really who this sentence is about. And the object is another noun. Not all sentences have objects, but if there is an object in the sentence, it's a noun that the verb is happening to. So the verb is eat, right? What's getting eaten? The falafel. So the falafel is the object of this sentence. I must be hungry right now because all of my example sentences have to do with food. So now let's take a look at I made a sandwich. So let's go ahead and label parts of speech. So I is a pronoun, but counts as a noun. Made is the verb, and sandwich is a noun. So when we take a look at what the subject of the sentence is, the subject is really about whoever I is. So the pronoun I is a subject pronoun. And what's being made, what is the verb happening to? What's being made is the sandwich, so the sandwich is the object of the sentence. So this is really just to serve as a refresher about subjects and objects. If you have any more questions or you want me to give you some more English sentences for practice, absolutely no problem, just let me know. But we're going to move on and let me know. Just go ahead and pause the video and send me an email if this part isn't totally clear to you. So we know that in Hebrew, the word order often doesn't translate directly the way that we would put words in order in English. We've seen this already in previous skill sets. So the word et is something that can help us figure out what order the words are supposed to go into. So let's read the instructions together. When I am ready to translate a verb, before I write down the translation, I should look at the next word after the verb. If the next word is an et, then that means that the word that follows the et is the object of the sentence. But if the word does not have an et, then that means that the word that follows is the subject of the sentence, the subject of the verb. So I know that sounds a little bit confusing when we say it all together, so let's take a look at an example to help it make sense. So the verse that we're looking at is Asa et hamayim. Now if we were to just break it down word for word, Asa is the male form of the verb to do, or to make. So hamayim, we know, is the water. So if we were to translate this literally, we have made and the water. So did the water make something, or did someone make the water? That's what's unclear about this. Because we have et, now let's look back at the instructions. If the word is an et, then that means that the next word is the object of the sentence. So that's the case in this. Yes, there is an et. So the way that we translate this is he made the water. So now we're going to take a look at an example that does not have an et and see how that's different. So the phrase that we're working with here is Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai. Right, this is a line from the Vishamru, and to translate it word for word, ki is because, sheshet is 6, yamim is days, asa is he made, and Adonai is God. So because 6 days he made God. Now, that doesn't quite make sense. It sounds like we're saying that someone made God. But because there's no et, right, asa is our verb, and then Adonai is the word that directly follows the verb. And we ask ourselves, is there an et between the verb and the word next to it? The answer in this case is no. And that means that Adonai is the subject, not the object. So since Adonai is the subject, we know that it's saying that God made, as opposed to saying that something made God. So you can really see that the presence or lack of presence of the et can have a lot to do with how we understand what the Torah says. For your homework, you are going to reorder these sentences based on the proper order in English. I'm going to give you the English translation in just a moment. And 2 of these have et, 2 of these do not. And so you need to use the skills that you've picked up during this video to figure out the proper order of the English words based on the use of et. So for number 1, vayar, it means and he saw. Elohim is God. Et haor, so there's et, and then haor means the light, and ki tov, it was good. For number 2, vayasev, and he led. Elohim is God. Et, there's your et. Ha'am is the people. Derech means the way. And Hamid Bar is of the wilderness. Number 3 is Ve'amar, which means and he said. Pharaoh. Livnei is to the children. Yisrael, Israel. And last but not least, Vayera means and he appeared. Adonai, God. El Avraham, to Avraham. Ve'amer, and said. So, all you should come in the next time that I see you is have 4 sentences written in English in the proper word order as you've determined based on whether there is or is not an et. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. If not, happy word ordering.